Hey y'all, I'm Mandy, and this is the Eye Behind the Empire, where we talk about what's really going on behind your business. I'm a fractional COO and tech strategist who believes freedom starts with clarity, and if your back end's a mess, you'll feel it everywhere. Because what you can't see might be what's holding you back. Let's fix that. Hey y'all, welcome back to the Eye Behind the Empire. I'm Mandy Maleta, your host. This podcast is for premier CEOs who are running shit, but they are in their own way. They are tired of being the bottleneck. They are ready to get things right. And today we're going to be talking about why white glove onboarding is a boundary, not a luxury. Now, when I say white glove onboarding, I don't mean that it's fancy. What white glove onboarding to me really means is it's seamless. It is put together. It is like locked in. It's not about over delivering or impressing people either. You can have like a super simple but locked in white glove onboarding. I actually recommend that. Like, don't overcomplicate it. It does not need to be overcomplicated, I promise. But white glove onboarding, yes, is indeed just locked in, seamless, set, and on point. It's about setting your operational standards from day one. And the way you begin determines how everything functions after that. You can't build a calm, sustainable working relationship on a rushed start. And so while I'm talking through this, I want you to think of, because we've all signed up for courses and classes and all kinds of different things. And I want you to think about the onboarding that you went through. Because as I'm talking, it's going to click for you. And you're going to remember that one time that it was absolute shit onboarding. And you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about when I say that it needs to be white glove. And when you see it, you will not be able to unsee it. And you will definitely start evaluating your own onboarding. And so let's talk about some common beliefs that you're challenging or they're in your brain or you've told yourself. We'll just get started and clean it up as we go. Girl, you will not. You will not. Onboarding just slows things down. Really? No, no, it doesn't. when when your onboarding isn't put together, when it's not white glove, yes, it will slow things down. But when it's I'm going to say this lightly, almost set it and forget it kind of ish. I mean, it's definitely one of those you set and you're not going to sit there and keep going in and messing with it. But once you get it locked in, I say forget it. I use that very loosely. I mean, like, as in you don't have to keep doing something every time you're onboarding something, every time you're onboarding someone. Now, you don't want to completely forget about it because as your business grows, as we've talked before, your systems and your processes and things, they need tune-ups and need to grow as well. So, just keep that in mind as we're talking. Another belief you could be telling yourself, we don't need anything formal. We're flexible. Flexibility without structure doesn't create ease. Creates friction. That definitely shows up later. 100%. And so you may be thinking then, okay, so what does white glove onboarding actually protect then? Like what is the purpose of it? Well, your quality of work, for one, clarity around ownership and decision-making speed, emotional safety on both sides. We're talking you and I'm talking your client. the relationship itself with your client, and then it helps prevent reworking things, misaligned expectations, constant clarifications, and quiet resentment that no one names until it's a problem. Am I right? So here's why rushed onboarding breaks things later. Assumptions replace clarity. Context gets skipped. Everyone fills in gaps differently. Problems surface later and feel personal instead of operational. And by the time issues appear, trust has already been chipped away. I mean, think about it. Because you're amazing, your shit's high ticket. Okay, we aren't out here charging $2 to work with us. It costs some money because the work that we do, the results that we deliver make differences. And so somebody has had some sort of an experience with you, has agreed that they need what you have to offer, and has decided to work with you. And in that deciding to work with you, they have to give you the amount of money that is required. And like I said, since we out here doing some real work, we are costing some money. That is a leap of faith for that person. That's a lot of leaps of faith. I'm going to trust this person. I'm going to trust this person and give them my money. Money is, there's a whole lot of emotion wrapped up in it for people. So they give you the money. And then if when I say stuff, onboarding is chaotic or disjointed or just like has this off vibe, it gives your client this I'm less than important to this person feeling. And that's where the trust starts to chip away. And I'm going to tell you something. The easiest way to grow more in business is by referrals. My business is built on referrals. And it's because it is far easier to get a client when somebody is saying, hey, this person is the shit and you need to go work with them, then that other person, it's much easier for them. Most of my discovery calls, my sales calls are literally me being like, hey, what do you need? Okay, yes, I can do that. And here's how I work. Like it's never been a normal discovery call of, trying to figure out each other because they've already been sold by me or about me because they've already been told how great I am. They don't need any sort of that sort of conversation. They just need to tell me what they need. They need to get it off their chest. And then we go forward. So anyway, I digress. That's a topic for another day. But I'm just saying, but if your onboarding sucks and they don't feel important, if they don't feel like they are the shining star at the moment, which they should be, because they're putting their trust in you, that trust breaks and it's hard to get back later. You can only use the tech as being wonky excuse so many times with people, and then they're not buying it. Just saying. So here's some of the invisible work, we'll call it, that clients don't see, but it's happening on the backside. And so it's the part people don't see and realize happening, but everybody benefits afterward from it. And so we'll call it context mapping. And that's understanding how the business actually functions, not how it looks on paper. Who makes decisions? Who really owns that? And where, knowledge lives? What history exists that isn't documented? What's fragile, sensitive, or politically charged? Without this, you fix the wrong things and accidentally break others. System audits. Not what tools you use, but what systems are holding the business together? Which ones only work because someone is over functioning? where data is unreliable or duplicated, what collapses under pressure. Most systems work, quote unquote, until growth tests them. Dependency tracking. This is seeing what relies on what breaks if one person is unavailable, what depends on undocumented knowledge, what steps must happen before anything else can move, where timing matters more than people realize. This is how founders get removed as the bottleneck. Risk identification. This is prevention, not paranoia. This is single points of failure, silent assumptions, processes that only work in perfect conditions, exposure people don't realize they have. Clients experience this as fewer surprises later. Capacity planning. This is not about how busy people feel. It's about how much work the system can actually absorb, how many initiatives can run at once without degradation, and where attention is already overallocated. This is why senior operators push back on urgency. Like, yes, I'm just going to just leave it at that because that could be a whole other rant. Sequencing decisions, doing the right thing in the wrong order still creates chaos. 1000%. What must stabilize before scaling? What cannot be layered on top of mess? What needs to happen now versus later? And what feels urgent but should wait? Most frustration comes from poor sequencing, not bad intentions. So, why does all of this work create calm later? So, when this work is done, and when I say when this work is done, meaning when your onboarding is set, when it's locked in, we'll say, there are fewer fires that actually reach leadership. Now, that would apply if you have team members. If you are a solopreneur, then it's less fires for you to put out, plain and simple. Decisions happen faster. People trust the process. The business feels lighter without anyone pushing harder. The calm isn't accidental, it's engineered. And that's what you want. Now, another piece that I want to throw in, white glove onboarding doesn't have to be all like AI, dehumanized kind of automation. Like it doesn't have to feel yuck. It doesn't have to feel gross or, like they're just another number. Absolutely not. Any onboarding that I have ever set up, I intentionally make sure that it seems like human interaction. I mean, people are not dumb, okay? They know that after a purchase, there are going to be some automated emails, all right? It's just like you still want them to sound and feel as human as possible, not robotic. And I absolutely incorporate that. I insist on it. Actually, I will not set up an onboarding otherwise. And then there's little pieces that you can throw in there as far as like checkpoints and stuff. It's just a matter of it being sequenced in a way that keeps somebody from being overwhelmed, but also keeps them informed. So that's the biggest piece. Is when that person hands that money over to you, they want to know what is coming next. They do not want to hand that money over to you and have to sit there for 8 hours and not hear a thing. I have literally seen that happen. Please do not let your onboarding be like that. I mean, I also have seen where somebody pays and then gets 6 emails. So please don't do that either. I mean, there is a calm in the middle there that is absolutely achievable. But that's what I'm talking about. You need to put yourself in those shoes and go, what would I want? What would feel good to me in this moment knowing I've decided to put my trust in this person. I've also decided to give them my hard-earned money because I trust that they're going to give me the results that they have just talked about. What would you want? Not 6 emails, but you also don't want crickets for 8 hours. So there's that. So just some things to think about. Now, here's a little, I guess, metaphor, we'll call it, of how to think about onboarding and then all of those other pieces that I talked about, the invisible work that clients don't see. Think of it this way. So most people think starting work is like getting into a car. You turn the key and you go. In white glove onboarding is more like flying a plane. Before takeoff, systems are checked, fuel is calculated, routes are confirmed, weather is assessed, backups are in place, a checklist is followed. No one on the plane sees that work. We don't. We're just sitting there waiting to start backing up from the gate. We know some shit's going on. We know that they're doing things, but it's not in our face. We know it, but we're just kind of sitting there hanging out. And back to the plane, we just notice that the flight is smooth afterwards, mostly. We're going to go with the majority of things going smoothly at the airport because I've been in nightmare situations. So let's just think about the good times that we've had at airports. So context mapping that I talked about earlier is understanding the route and airspace. The system audits are checking the plane itself. Dependency tracking is knowing what fails if one system goes offline. Risk identification is spotting turbulence before you hit it. Capacity planning is knowing how much weight the plane can safely carry. And sequencing decisions, that's following the checklist in the correct order. And if you rush takeoff, the flight doesn't feel fast, it feels unstable. And nobody wants to be on an unstable flight. White glove onboarding exists, so everything after feels calm, predictable, and safe. And that's what you want. And senior operators like myself, we insist on it because we've seen what happens when people skip the checklist. Okay. I talked about earlier the 6 emails. I've talked about the 8 hours of crickets, and I've seen literally everything in between. I have seen the DMs and the emails and the things that come in when somebody's overwhelmed with too much information and when they're underwhelmed with no information. So I like to give a quick little, scenario, basic scenario that you could have for your onboarding setup. Now, how, the little nuances of what you do, that's up to you. But I would say you're on the phone with somebody. Great. Yeah. Want to work together. Sounds fabulous. Great. Here's what's next. This is what you're telling them. Here's what's next. You're going to get my contract that you need to sign. After you do that, you will get an automated invoice so that you can pay. Okay. Once you do that, you'll get a receipt, and then you're going to get an onboarding email with the further next steps. That's it. Okay. Those are very easy to set up. And guess what? You just told that person exactly the next steps of what's going to happen. And then you alerted them to there are more steps and there is more info to come. However, I'm not going to tell you that information right now because I need you to complete these other items first. So boom, however you initiate the contract to go them. Is it a tag in your CRM? Is it a checkbox? Is it you manually sending it? Something happens and that goes boom. From there, they sign. Great. Probably some sort of automation should be set up so that the invoice automatically goes out. Okay, they pay. Great. They are at this point officially in. They have signed, they have paid. Great. Now, and only now, do you give them the further instructions. You do not give them the further instructions until they have paid and signed, because otherwise they're not in. So now in this additional email that they get, this one that you've already alluded to, this is where you're sharing with them, okay, now I need you to tell me what dates you want to have calls, or sign into your course materials, or go here and schedule your next call, or, whatever your natural next step is for them to get started in your program or working with you. That is when you share that information. Not before, but then. So, I mean, there's, so many different avenues that you can go with for this, but that's probably the most common onboarding setup that I do. I've done way more complex and I've done simpler. But I mean, that's the basis of it. I mean, other than that, your little nuances are going to be what your email says and any other follow-ups after that. So it can really be that simple. Remember, white glove onboarding isn't about luxury. It's about leadership. Mature businesses don't start relationships in a rush. You want this person to be around for a long time. I mean, you want repeat customers, right? I mean, we all do. So you don't start your relationships in a rush. You start them intentionally so that you don't spend the next 6 months fixing what could have been prevented, trying to rebuild trust that you already had. You had the trust when they decided to work with you and pay you. You had full trust. Don't mess it up. Don't mess it up, because it is hard to get back. If this episode changed how you think about onboarding, standards, or how work should actually begin, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. Follow along so you don't miss future conversations about real operations, CEO level decision making, and what actually creates sustainable growth behind the scenes. And if you know someone who keeps rushing the start and wondering why things feel messy later, please send this episode to them. They need it. Thank you. Until next time. Thanks for listening to The Eye Behind the Empire. If today's episode helped you see your business more clearly, be sure to follow the show and share it with another CEO who needs it. And if you're ready to turn your hidden brilliance into operational freedom, visit illuminaops.com to learn how we can make it happen. Until next time, keep your focus clear and your empire aligned.